Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Yasodanandana Raja Dhanaranjana Jaya Raja Dhanaranjana. Yasodanandana Raja Dhanaranjana Jaya Raja Dhanaranjana. Yamunatiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Yamunatiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Grivadari Jaya Grivadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Raja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Varachari Jaya Kunja Vihari. Yamunatira Varachari Jaya Kunja Vihari. Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jaya Vishnupad Paramahansa Ravidakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Haribo Slava Zabrani Bhaktam Slava Shri Guru Shri Gaurangi Om Vishnu Vraya Krishna Prasthaya Bhute Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tenamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Satarane. Om Agyanat Vinandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mirobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vasakans Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchena Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Turvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 24, Matsya, the Lord's Fish Incarnation, text number 15. Tam Atmano Nugrahartam Prityamatsya Vapur Dharam Ajanam Rakshanartaya Shaparya Samano Dade Tam Atmano Nugrahartam Pritya Matsya Vapurdaram Ajanam Rakshanartaya Sharpaya Samano Dade. Ratsadorvaram Shinam Rajataya Hapadrodade Ogarhatam Prityamatsya Vapurdaram Shinam Rajataratam Sharpaya Mane Tam unto the fish Atmanaha personal Anugraha Artam to show favor Pritya very much pleased Matsya Vapu Udaram the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had assumed the form of a fish, Ajanan, without knowledge of this, Rakshana Artaya, just to give protection, Shaparya, of the fish, Saha, the king, Manaha, mind, the day, decided. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. To please himself, King Satyavrata, not knowing that the fish was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, decided with great pleasure to give the fish protection. Purport. This is an example of giving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead even without knowledge. Such service is called Agyata Sukriti. King Satyavrata wanted to show his own mercy, not knowing that the fish was Lord Vishnu. By such unknowing devotional service, one is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Service rendered to the Supreme Lord knowingly or unknowingly never goes in vain. Quite a simple service, just putting him into a bowl. I'll keep on reading. This is, just read the translations. Merciful King, being moved by the pitiable words of the fish, placed the fish in a water jug and brought him to his own residence. But in one night, the fish grew so much that he could not move his body comfortably in the water of the pot. He then spoke to the king as follows. My dear king, I do not like living in this water pot with such great difficulty. Therefore, please find some better reservoir of water where I can live comfortably. Then, taking the fish out of the water pot, the king threw him in a large well. But within a moment, the fish developed to the length of 3 cubits. Anyone know how big 3 cubits is? Cube. Ice cubes. 3 ice cubes. No. No, a cubit is I think it's something like the length between your arm, well, this is like, would be 1 cubit. So 3 times its length, more or less. It's not. The fish then said, my dear king, this reservoir of water is not fit for my happy residence. Please give me a more extensive pool of water, for I have taken shelter of you. O Maharaj Parikshit, the king took the fish from the well and threw him in a lake. But the fish then assumed a gigantic form, exceeding the water of the extent of the water. The fish then said, O king, I am a large aquatic, and this water is not at all suitable for me. Now kindly find some way to save me. It would be better to put me in the water of a lake that will never reduce. When thus requested, King Satyavrata took the fish to the largest reservoir of water. When that also proved insufficient, the king at last threw the gigantic fish into the ocean. It's interesting how did the king throw the fish into the ocean? Could you imagine the fish the size of a gigantic reservoir of water? How do you pick it up and just throw it into an ocean? What's that? Yeah, I'm sure he was pretty strong. But even if you're so strong, what is the size of a person compared to a reservoir of water? How do you get the fish out of the lake? Anyhow, it's all kind of mystical. Well, this, while being thrown in the ocean, the fish said to the king, O king, the king Satyavrata, O hero, in this water there are many powerful and dangerous sharks that will eat me. Therefore you should not throw me in this place. After hearing these sweet words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a fish, the king, being bewildered, asked him, who are you, sir? You simply bewilder us. I mean, it's not every day you talk to a fish. What to speak of one who keeps on growing all the time? I don't know. Oh Lord, in one day you expanded yourself for hundreds of miles. It's only between here and Zagreb is how many, in terms of miles, it's probably 100 miles between here and Zagreb, maybe a little bit more. And between here, maybe in Belgrade, is hundreds of miles. Could you imagine picking up a fish? Something fishy about this story. Anyhow, Krishna and his devotees can do amazing things. My Lord, you are certainly the inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, Sri Hari. It is to show your mercy to the living entities that you have now assumed the form of an aquatic. O my Lord, Master of creation, maintenance and annihilation, O best of enjoyers, Lord Vishnu, you are the leader and destination of surrendered devotees like us. Therefore, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. All your pastimes and incarnations certainly appear for the welfare of all living entities. Therefore, my Lord, I wish to know the purpose for which you have assumed this form of a fish. O my Lord, possessing eyes like the petals of a lotus, the worship of the demigods, who are in the bodily concept of life, is fruitless in all respects. But because you are the supreme friend and dearmost supersoul of everyone, worship of your lotus feet is never useless. You have therefore manifested your form as a fish. Purport: demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Surya are ordinary living entities, or differentiated parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord expands Himself through the living beings, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. His personal Vishnu Tattva forms, which are all spiritual, are called Svangsa, and the living entities who are differentiated parts are called Vivinangsa. Some of the Vivinangsa forms are spiritual, and some are a combination of matter and spirit. The conditioned souls in the material world are different from their external bodies, made of material energy. Thus, the demigods living in the upper planetary systems and the living entities living in the lower planetary systems are of the same nature. Nonetheless, those living as human beings on this planet are sometimes attracted to worshiping the demigods in the higher planetary systems. Such worship is temporary. As the human beings on this planet have to change their bodies, tata dahantara prapti, the living entities known as Indra, Chandra, Varuna, and so on will also have to change their bodies in the due course of time. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Antavantu palam tesham tad bhavat yalpanmedasam. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Kamaistaistar vidyana prapadyante nidevata. Those who do not know the position of the demigods are inclined to worship the demigods for some material purpose, but the results of such worship are never permanent. Consequently, here is it said, Yate tarayeshem pritag atmanam satam pado sarpanam mrisha bhavet. In other words, if one is to worship someone else, he must. If one is to worship someone else, he must worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then his worship will never be fruitless. Swapam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a slight attempt to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a permanent asset. Therefore, as recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tyaktva Siddharman Charanam Bhujam Hare. One should take to the worship of the lotus feet of Hari, even if this means giving up the so-called occupational duty assigned because of the particular body one has accepted. Because worship in terms of the body is temporary. It does not bear any permanent fruit. But worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives immense benefit. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswatunde Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyadyade Satarane. We're coming towards the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna appears as the cowherd boy in Vrindavan. But Krishna is the Ete Changsa Kala Pumsam, Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam, Indrari Vakulam Lokam, Mrigayanti Yuge Yuge. Krishna is the source of all the incarnations. Ete Changsa Kala Pumsam, Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swayam. He's the Swayam Krishna, with two hands holding a flute. Now, most people who read about Krishna, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Avajananti mamuda manushim tanam ashrityam param bhavam majanato mama bhuta maheshwaram. The fools, they deride at my descending in this human-like form. They don't know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all the be. So the tendency is we judge everything according to our perspective. Now, if Krishna appeared as a personality who owned so many factories, was a heavyweight weightlifting champion of the world or whatever, people would think, well, this makes sense that maybe this person is eligible in the competition to become God. But he appears as a cowherd boy herding cows. It doesn't make much sense to people that anyone would worship a cowherd boy. Even Lord Brahma was bewildered when he saw the demigods. Well, he heard the demigods glorifying this little boy after Krishna had killed the Aghasura demon. All the demigods were beating on their drums and sounding their horns in praise of this cowherd boy. And Brahma thought, what is this? Maybe the demigods have lost their minds or something. And so he came and stole all the cows and the calves and the cowherd boys, put them in a cave, and then wanted to see what Krishna was going to do. He left, but came back in less than a moment of his lifetime, 1 year of our lifetime. And he saw all the calves and cows, and the cowherd boys were still playing with Krishna. So he was bewildered. How is it this possible that a cowherd boy could do such a thing? How did this happen? And then, of course, Krishna as the little cowherd boy, when Brahma came, and then Krishna expanded himself. Each one of the cowherd boys manifests himself as a four-armed Vishnu form. All the cows manifested themselves as and the calves manifested themselves as four-armed Vishnu forms. Then all the different universes came, all the Brahmas from all the universes, all the Shivas came, all time, and then Brahma was becoming completely bewildered. Suddenly Krishna alleviated Brahma of the Yogamaya potency that was bewildering him, and once again Krishna appeared as the little cowherd boy in Vrindavan. Now, if that could happen to us, we'd be quite impressed that this little cowherd boy is not what he appears to be. He has some mystic power or something. He can expand himself in all the Brahmas and all the universes. Pretty good power. We'd be quite impressed. But then again, whenever we saw Krishna, we'd think, oh my God, I better be nice. This guy is pretty powerful. He looks like a little cowherd boy, but wow, who knows what he could do. So that loving spirit that the devotees in Vrindavan have for Krishna would be somewhat hampered by this viewing of Krishna's power. Therefore, Krishna doesn't manifest such power very often in Vrindavan. And when he does, he generally tells us, like when Krishna and the cowherd boys were surrounded by fire, was going to annihilate the cows and the cowherd boys and Krishna, apparently. Then Krishna told them to close their eyes. And then when they closed their eyes, then Krishna devoured the fire. There were two fires. And another one, they opened their eyes and they were in Bandiravan, free from the fire. Because Krishna doesn't really want to change the loving spirit of the residents of Vrindavan, thinking, yes, I was with Krishna, we were playing, and then suddenly he's just eating fires, my God. I mean, I thought one of the regular principles that you're not supposed to smoke, but he's smoking whole forests. This is really strange. So that would spoil the loving feelings of the residents. So Krishna doesn't do that. He's very careful. And even when he puts Mother Jasoda into illusion, well, not illusion, when he reveals, he opens his mouth after Balaram was accusing Krishna of eating clay, then Krishna opens his mouth to show his mother that he wasn't eating clay. And Mother Jasoda sees the whole universe within his mouth, with all the sun and all the planets and all of outer space. I mean, that's a pretty deep experience. If you looked in someone's mouth and you saw the whole universe, you'd be pretty impressed. But then some Mother Jasoda became very philosophical, was trying to wonder how has my son acquired this mystic power, etc. And then Krishna just covered it over with the Yoga Maya, and she forgot the whole thing. She thought, oh, he's just my child. Now we're covered by Maya Maya, by the way. We're not covered by Yoga Maya. And therefore the Srimad Bhagavatam is there from the first 9 cantos to show us that the 10th canto is not that of an ordinary boy, cowherd boy, dancing with some ladies in the middle of the night. No, he's actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Adi Avatar. He's the source of all the incarnations, and therefore there must be something special about Krishna's relationship with these devotees, that even God, he's not interested in simply showing his power. His greatest happiness is love, loving exchanges. And loving exchanges means that there has to be some, on different degrees, on different levels, there has to be some feeling of either or reverence or equality or protection or complete freedom. So Krishna relishes all these different exchanges of love with his devotees. And that's what he exists for. Not just simply show his opulences and everyone go, oh God, please, don't hit me. Although that's there also in most of the incarnations, whether it's Matsya, Kurma, Raha, Nrsimhadev, all reverence is there, but Krishna relishes the most his position as the cowherd boy in Vrindavan, because there the loving exchanges are the most intimate. But the conditioned soul will not understand that, because he doesn't even know who God is. He doesn't even know Krishna. It's only revealed by bhakti. Bhakti mam abhijananti, yavan tasmi tatvataha, tatomam tatvato gyatva, vishate tadanantaram. One can only understand Krishna as he really is through the process of bhakti. And when one is actually absorbed in bhakti, he can enter into the mysteries of understanding Krishna. Therefore, we have to at first know about Krishna's opulence. So we stop trying to steal from him, because it doesn't work. We can't get away with it. He said, one of the eyes of Krishna is the sun, and the other one's the moon. He's seeing everything. What to speak of being the super soul in everyone's heart. So we really don't get away with anything. And therefore we have to be careful what we're doing. But not just be careful so we don't get struck by the thunderbolt of Indra, which is part of what the process of getting elevated from being a thief, become less of a thief, reform thieves. So that's there. And then when we're not thieves anymore, then we can become liberated from the material concept of life, that we're the controllers here, that there's no God, there's no foundation, there's all asatyam apratishtam te jagarahora nishwaram aparashparam sambhutyam kimanya kamahai dukam. They say, the demons say, that this world is unreal, it has no foundation, it has no God in control, it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. So conditioned soul means this is their belief. Now we may say, well, I'm a devotee, but actually how much of a devotee are we? How much we actually free from these conceptions that this world is unreal, that it has no foundation, it has no God in control. How often do we forget that Krishna is controlling everything? How often do we take credit for what we're doing? Thinking that I'm a devotee, so I'm special, but I'm not an ordinary devotee. I'm a special devotee. And my service is special, unlike everyone else's service, which is just ordinary, but I'm special. How often do we think like that, an illusion? That we're the doer. That what we're watching is either the material energy fulfilling our desires according to what we deserve in our illusory state of consciousness, or we're watching, when we surrender and get out of illusion, the spiritual energy taking charge and manifesting Krishna's desire in this world. And we're simply be able to get the benefit of that, although we're not actually doing it. Because Krishna, we come under the spell of the internal energy rather than the external energy, but we're not doing anything except for desiring, which is very significant, because by our desires we can go to hell or we can go back to the spiritual world, according to how we desire. But it's all being arranged by Krishna through his different energies. So how often do we forget that actually Krishna exists and he with his energies, and that we're simply an infinitesimal spark of the whole. And that we have a choice, either we accept Krishna or we think everything is based on lust. And that my duty is to fulfill my desires, rather than Krishna's desires. And therefore we get into trouble. Well, we're already in trouble, because we think with this body is nothing but trouble. But if we get more and more into the Bali concept of life, then we'll simply experience more and more difficulty with different bodies. Therefore Krishna is coming, yuge, the millennium after millennium, to show us that he's God, and that we should, and we're not so far away from him since he's in our heart. He's not only manifesting these incredible pastimes outside, but he's also directing us as a personal friend within our heart. So we should accept him within our heart. We should accept these pastimes, what they teach us, and ultimately then we'll be able to accept Krishna and Vrindavan as a cowherd boy, and then our life will become perfect. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
I have two questions today. Hare Krishna.
Is that the first one?
No, it's not. So the first question is regarding to us stealing. In a way, just maybe, definitely I'm a little bit more bewildered. So it looks like Krishna is our father and material nature is our mother. So to whom we are stealing then if we are here? My father didn't say to me like you're stealing, I don't know, my property.
Krishna's representatives are telling you that you're a thief. You think you're your body, right?
I'm just trying to survive.
I'm a nice thief. I don't try to steal too much. No one could really criticize me because I'm just a helpless thief. Do you ever do anything without thinking that we're doing it for Krishna's pleasure?
Yeah, here we are trying to understand this thing.
Do you think that watch belongs to you?
I put some effort into it.
Yeah, it's all part of the illusion, isn't it? I'm not stealing it. I deserve it. I'm not a thief. It's part of my salary.
So some of the things should be understood authoritatively. I mean, like they are, or
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, no,
Not as you
speculation.
like them to be.
Yes. And another question is about the Krishna's incarnations. Sometimes Krishna comes with also Balaram, like in Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, but here only Matsya comes. Maybe Balaram is somewhere smaller fish, or why sometimes Krishna comes only like his incarnation, or Nisimhadev came also alone, not with Balaram, or
Well, his devotee Prahlad was there. Satyavrata is there. His devotee is there.
huh?
He's not alone.
Oh, yeah. But still, it's not like a rule that Krishna comes with Balarama and all.
Did you want to make such a rule?
I just want to understand.
Well,
that-
obviously it is what it is. I can't.
Yeah, some things we have
There's
to
a rule:
accept.
Krishna can't come alone. Therefore, invisibly, Balaram had to come, but he couldn't take any credit for the pastime. He didn't want to become a fish, so he.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you can. Anyhow, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, we
Right.
have to understand it as it is.
Yeah,
yes.
maybe you can look for the commentaries and spend some weeks looking, see. But anyhow, the pastime is what it is. There's no mention of Balaram.
Yeah.
There's no mention of But we have to understand these incarnations are expansions of Balaram.
Oh. Yeah, maybe I don't understand.
I'm sure you don't.
Thank you, Maharaj.
It's rare Krishna comes, and then he comes. But Krishna, these incarnations are expansions. They're not Krishna directly.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anything else? Here.
So we know that every living being has a Paramatma. That means that even the blade of grass.
They don't have a Paramatma. Paramatma has every living being.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. So everywhere there is Paramatma.
Yeah, Paramatma is everywhere, including in our heart.
Is it in the heart, right? It's in.
Yeah, you're close.
Somewhere there.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He's inside our heart.
Okay, but then, for example, I'm gonna take the example of a human being when it's created. There are two cells which combine each other, and then
Two Paramatmas merge.
two Paramatmas are combining each other, right? So how is it?
No, Paramatma is everywhere.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have to. He's everywhere. So if he's everywhere, he doesn't merge. As a soul, there's only one soul in the sperm. There's not many souls merging. The egg is just supplied by the woman. The sperm is supplied by the man. And inside the sperm, there's a soul. There's only one soul.
Mm-hmm. But then, how they are moving the others? How? It's
By the material energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything ultimately is being moved by consciousness, by the supreme consciousness.
So even the blade of grass has a Paramatma. Even one blade of grass. I mean, Paramatma is there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
When you develop the vision, you can see, wow,
Yeah.
he's everywhere. But he's only one. He's only one person. Anyhow, if you try to think about it, either you'll become impressed, or you'll become bewildered.
Both at the same time.
Try to figure out God, how He does it. Can you when you see Krishna, you can ask Him, can you show me the trick? How you can expand yourself in everyone's heart and not be bewildered?
Yeah, I saw this image in Prabhupada's books. First time when I started to read the books, I was seeing this image when a yogi is looking at everybody and everything has a Paramatma in the center somewhere.
Yeah.
So I thought that it's located there, or it's a rule that it's always there.
No.
Located.
Well, anyhow, He's everywhere. He's in between the atoms too.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Whatever the atoms are.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Pimananda.